Hey guys, it's Frozenballz here. Welcome to another episode of Minmaxer's Playground. Before we get into it, I just want to say a couple of things. One, I've been at EGX for the past week, and when I got back from EGX, I actually got the flu. So I've been pretty ill, and I've been kind of dying. You might be able to hear it in my voice right now, but I'm casually currently just dying, coughing my lungs up, and, sneezing my brains out. So again, apologies for a little bit of a delay between videos, but I will be compensating by making more videos over the next couple of weeks. For this particular episode, we're going to be talking about Limbo. Now, it's not a hidden fact that I don't like the aesthetics of Limbo as a Warframe. However, he has massive scalability and seriously interesting power interactions as well, which is why he's such an interesting frame to play with. This particular video is going to focus on those power interactions and explain just how powerful of a frame Limbo actually is. Now, when it comes to Limbo, there are two specific builds which you can use at endgame. The first build is focused entirely around using Limbo for spies, sorties, and rescue missions. By utilizing Limbo's ability, Riftwalk, you can completely nullify threats such as the laser doors, arc traps, as well as damage from enemies itself. This basically makes him a master at running spy missions, rescue missions, and even sortie defense missions where you have a target which you just put in the rift and they will take no more damage anymore, so you don't have to worry about it except for the downtime between recasting the ability itself. Since Riftwalk puts you into a completely different phase, you will not be taking damage from enemies. That means laser traps will not work, explosive barrels won't work, arc traps won't work on you itself. However, you can still be detected by cameras as well as enemies itself. You can counter this by adding even further synergy by using the Huras Kubro or your Ghost Sentinel, which will turn you invisible. This is handy because especially when you're doing spy missions, you don't want the camera to detect you, so you can have the Huras make you invisible, and you can literally run right in like you're about to rob a bank or something. Because of this, Limbo is just as comparable to a Loki or a Navara for running spy missions as any of the others, and it's just as easy, if not easier. In terms of builds, this build focuses entirely around power duration and a bit of efficiency. But since this build also focuses on speed running spies, rescues, and sortie missions, it also has movement speed added to it, to enhance that aspect of mission running itself. Since I was just talking about, enhancing your speed for movement, this particular build focuses on a combination of speed drift, rush, and mobilize. This means you've got fast running speed as well as bullet jumping speed. A combination of prime flow and streamline again gives you a big energy pool as well as efficiency for recasting your ability and casting it on your teammates if you need to do so as well, or casting the ability on the rescue target or the defense target, for example. Prime Continuity and Narrow-Minded and Constitution are the three mods added in for extra duration, which puts it at 282%, and Natural Talent basically increases the animation speed for the cast of the Riftwalk animations itself. Most of Limbo's abilities have semi-long casting animation speeds, so Natural Talent basically speeds it up, makes it easier. When it comes to aura slots, this is again dependent on the kind of mission you're running, but Corrosive Projection, as usual, is the flavor of choice. There is an alternative which you can do for this particular build. If you so choose, for even more speed, you can replace Streamline with Armored Agility for maximum sprint speed itself. This basically gives, Nasia a run for its money, simply because of how fast you can actually travel with this particular build itself. You don't necessarily need any defensive mods for this particular build, since you're going to be spending pretty much 100% of your time in the rift itself. As long as you are in the rift, you control what enters and exits the rift, and you can do damage accordingly, or you can avoid damage as well accordingly. This build is very, very useful because it has the ability to ignore lasers, arc traps, magnetic fields, hive effects from the infested, and even the Orokin death lasers. And that's the first build itself. Let's talk about the second build. Before we talk about the build itself, there are certain things about Limbo which need to be explained. This particular build utilizes the Rift Surge augment. Rift Surge buffs a weapon's base damage. This amplified damage is affected by your base damage of a weapon. It is also affected by your weapon combo counter, and is also affected by channeling damage as well at the same time. One of the most important mods for this particular build is the augment for Rift Surge, which is Rift Torrent. What this augment does is it increases the damage bonus for each enemy present in the Rift plane. This is manageable by using the Cataclysm bubble itself. So the more enemies you have in the bubble, the more damage bonus you get for your Rift Surge itself, which means your damage output scales up even further exponentially. Naramon has the same invisibility damage bonus that Loki gets. This build utilizes Naramon. Now, here are just a few numbers for you. This particular build gives you a 400% additive bonus to your weapon damage, which is increased by 40% per enemy caught in the rift, aka the Cataclysm bubble, and this is boosted even further by 4 times using Naramon. And when you combine all of that together, Slash Procs will be doing even more damage because of Rift Surge, which buffs the base damage of your weapon. Because it's affecting your base damage of your weapon, this also includes the crits of a weapon itself. You can see exactly where I'm going with this. To fully understand this build and the capabilities of this build, I have to explain Slash Procs a little bit more. The reason why Slash Procs do so much damage is for the simple reason that Slash Procs take into account base damage and critical multipliers. However, you also need to bear in mind that every 100% crit chance, your critical multiplier scales up even further, which is the biggest reason why you have such massive Slash Procs to begin with. And since we now have a mod called Blood Rush, which allows us to stack the combo even higher with all of these multipliers, weapons such as the Tekko, Atarax, Legion, and the Galatine, which have a high base multiplier to begin with, will end up doing even more damage. Just looking at the sheet, you can see how much damage potential Slash-based weapons have because of the scaling of crit. The best thing about this build is you define which enemies are in Rift Surge or not. You can either choose to wipe them out slowly one at a time, or you can choose to wipe them out an entire group using the Cataclysm/Bubble. Slash is the best physical damage type for the simple reason that a Slash proc does damage over time effect, it can be stacked, it's affected by headshot multipliers, crit multipliers, and it does finisher damage which ignores shields and resistances such as armor. So it does true damage. Now onto the actual build itself. The whole purpose of this particular build is to have a high power strength so that you can get yourself a massive damage bonus for Rift Surge, which is why you use a combination of Transient Fortitude, Intensify, and Power Drift. This gives you 200% power strength. You combine this with Quick Thinking and Prime Flow. Bigger energy pool means you've got more effective HP, and you also have better survivability so you don't get one shot because, you don't have any vitality mods, so it kind of gives you one of those oh shit buttons. Prime Continuity increases your duration of your bubble or Rift Surge, etc. So it means less time spent casting and more time actually killing. Natural Talent is again an important mod for Limbo because its animations are way too long and you want to be able to do those animations quick. Stretch means you've got a nice sized bubble to catch as many enemies as possible to get a big damage bonus for Rift Surge itself via the augment. Rift Torrent is the augment that is obviously required, and when it comes to the aura slot, you can go with whatever you want. Corrosive Projection works, Energy Siphon works, etc, etc. Because the way this build works, with 200% power strength, you get a 400% buff from Rift Surge, and this is increased by 40% per enemy that is caught in Rift via the Cataclysm bubble. You can buff this even further by Naramon, and when you combine it with a weapon like an Atarax using Maiming Strike and Slash Procs everywhere, you're looking at a Warframe and a weapon combination that can wipe out pretty much anything at very, very high levels. The scalability that this frame has with this particular combination of weapons, focus, and arcanes is just staggering. One of the best arcanes to go for this is Energize because you're not going with efficiency, and to be honest, you don't really need efficiency. When you're in the Rift, you're going to be regenerating power anyway. If you do run out of it, you've got your carrier which picks up all the loot for you, which includes some energy bubbles here and there, and when Energize procs, you get extra energy back and you're back up again and you're ready to do what you gotta do. It just works like a neat little bundle working together very, very nicely. Now, some people might think that Limbo is still the type of frame that you have to require pressing the 2 button, then pressing the first button to put enemies into the actual rift itself, and then killing them, and then doing it one by one by one. That's not how it works. The beauty of this particular build is the simple idea of activating Rift Surge and then activating Cataclysm. Let all the enemies come to you. As they come into the bubble, you kill them inside the bubble, and you still have that damage bonus. This build works exceedingly well against the Infested because the Infested are mostly melee enemies, and they will come to you. The bubble is big enough to give you a nice sized arena to kill all these enemies in, and as the enemies keeps coming in, your Rift Surge buff keeps getting bigger and bigger, which is another reason why the scaling is like never ending. So long as enemies keep walking into the rift, the buff keeps going on and you just keep murdering, and then the scaling just keeps increasing more and more. Limbo is, quite frankly, one of the best scaling frames right now in this current game with the melee build which you have currently available to you, just because of how the interactions worked all together. Even though it's not exactly the official passive for Limbo, the damage bonus to Slash is much better than the damage bonus Ash gets. That's why it is so good. And that's about it for this particular build for Limbo itself. To be honest, I'm the kind of person who is visually invested when it comes to Warframes and even games in general. So originally, I didn't really go into too much depth with Limbo itself until one of my clanmates, Artie, showed me just the capabilities that Limbo is capable of. And to be honest, ever since he showed me that, I'm willing to look past, his visuals just to play with Limbo because it's just so much fun. The kind of scalability and damage output that a Limbo has is kind of terrifying. And I would highly recommend you try it out because it is definitely a very, very fun build itself. Another addition I'd like to add, since I just got back from EGX, I've got myself a few platinum codes for PC and console. If you'd like to enter for the giveaway, make sure you leave a comment on the video, and I'll draw the winner for the next video itself. I think that's pretty much it for this particular video, guys. Thank you very much for watching yet again. This was Frozenballz with another Minmaxer's build video. If you like what you saw, make sure you leave a like, a comment, or subscribe to the channel for more content in the future.